Ricky Pass with the breaking news on the government's handling of the Epstein files after DOJ released documents revealing uncorroborated accusations made in 2019 against President Trump. One woman claims she was sexually abused by both Epstein and Trump when she was as young as 13 years old. President Trump has denied any wrongdoing. The documents came after news outlets reported files had been withheld or removed from DOJ's website. And today, a member of Congress told me Democrats will initiate impeachment proceedings against Attorney General Pam Bondi.
This week, we issued a bipartisan subpoena of Pam Bondi for her mishandling of the Epstein case. It's very clear that the new files provide greater detail about the allegations against the president. And I can tell you that within the next week, we will be filing articles of impeachment against Pam Bondi for her handling of this case.
Joining me now, Haley Fuchs, congressional reporter with Politico. Haley, welcome. So you wrote about Bondi being in trouble. How likely are impeachment proceedings next week? Who would introduce them, and would it have GOP support?
So I think what's really notable here is that Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, the two members of Congress who shepherded the Epstein Files Transparency Act that got us to where we are here, are pursuing an inherent contempt measure, a very rarely used power of Congress that allows it to issue its own punishments against people and potentially put people behind bars. And they're pursuing an inherent contempt charge against Pam Bondi. And Ro Khanna told me that they're suspecting that there are as many as 20 Republican lawmakers who would join them.
Let me ask you, an inherent contempt, I'm not familiar with that proceeding. Is that something that someone in the DOJ would have to help facilitate, or is this something exclusively run by Congress and could be implemented and legally passed by Congress?
It would not involve the DOJ. It would allow the House Sergeant at Arms to potentially take Pam Bondi into custody should lawmakers choose that. It could potentially mean that they levy fines against her, but it would be a way to go around DOJ, given that holding someone in contempt of Congress would involve DOJ to bring those charges.
And Haley, you said that this could potentially bring jail time?
That's a possibility here. It remains to be seen what punishment lawmakers choose. But this is a really kind of esoteric congressional power that hasn't been used in many, many decades. So this is all kind of uncharted waters here.
And how many Republicans are on board with this? And can you name names?
Ro Khanna told me at this point that they're expecting as many as 20. But I think it's notable that 5 Republicans in the House Oversight Committee voted to subpoena Pam Bondi. That was a really dramatic step for them to kind of do that with a sitting cabinet member.
Let me ask you about the White House response to these allegations against the president. They say they are false, and the DOJ says they include untrue and sensationalist claims. Are Republicans more outraged about the withholding of files or the allegations against the president?
I think the issue here for many lawmakers is the withholding of the files. Democrats in the House Oversight Committee were investigating why they were withheld. Many materials in the Epstein files are not substantiated or lack context, but it's notable that, such a serious charge against the president was not originally released in the files or at some point removed.
And Haley, what about those more MAGA Republicans who were taken aback by the administration's handling of the files? What are they saying now?
I think it's interesting that they are being critical of Pam Bondi. It may be that Pam Bondi becomes kind of the fall person for how the administration is handling the Epstein saga. But I think certainly it's a possibility that House Republicans could turn on Pam Bondi.
Haley Fuchs, thank you so much for the breaking news about potential impeachment charges and more being brought against Pam Bondi. Appreciate that.